Good morning, everybody. Find any way you'd like to start meeting how you are feeling in your body and your mind right now. So if you want to lie down, sit down, stand, and fold upside down, feel free. So we've been talking in the last week about understanding suffering. That brought us yesterday to talk about the 5 root causes of suffering as it's laid out in the Yoga Sutras, and they're called, which literally means poison. Have you ever had a moment of clarity in which a belief that you had for a while, maybe as a child, or you were raised with that belief, just kind of bursts, that bubble pops, and you realize, wow, that's not true. I actually don't have to live my life that way. And there was a sense of freedom, perhaps, or relief. I've been raised with so many kinds of systems, and you might be able to relate from, I don't have to get into too much detail, but a lot of fear-based systems in which fear was used to control my behavior among the other people around me too. And I lived a lot fearing that I was going to be punished, or, oh my gosh, I better be a good girl or else. And when I was able to step outside of that learning, and it's still a work in progress, but some of those beliefs, when I was able to step outside of it, there was such a huge sense of, I don't have to live with so much worry. So one of the main kleshas, and it's talked, root of suffering, it's talked to be the main one because it is the premise for the other 4. And that is the Sanskrit word avidya. And that is explained so well by this article in Yoga Matters. It says, each of us has a perception of what the world is like, made up of our past experiences, expectations, and what we believe, meaning that each of us has virtually created our own realities, which could be entirely different from each other's, yet we attempt to coexist in harmony. When afflicted by avidya, this root of suffering, we believe that our thoughts are true, that our perceptions are reality, and that what we individually believe is right is the truth. This lack of knowledge and wisdom is the most difficult to overcome, not because there's so much to learn, but because there's so much to unlearn and let go of. It's an interesting thing to chew on. What thoughts do we identify as true and thus color all of our interactions, or our ability to see another being's point of view, and in some way even cause us suffering, perhaps cause them suffering too? As yoga teaches to have open bodies, open breaths, more so it teaches us to have open minds. So let's come into this practice of lifting the veils that might bind us. Let's come down actually into child's pose, get some grounding to begin. So set your feet together towards the rear of your mat. Whether your knees are together or far apart, do what's most comfortable to allow your pelvis to drop towards your heels. And then do extend your arms forward so that we're lengthening the spine more actively as we rest the forehead down. Perhaps you put a prop under your head if it doesn't comfortably meet the ground. And then find some stillness in your body and connect with the way it's breathing in this moment, just as it is. As you become curious of your qualities of breath, what insight does that give you in the way you're feeling mentally, emotionally, physically, and energetically? So that it's with awareness that we set our intentions and follow through with inspired action. Let's begin to deepen the breath. Inhale. Through the mouth, exhale. Inhaling. Through the mouth again, whisper the breath out. As you breathe in, consciously expand your belly, your side ribs, and your chest. Listen to the breath all the way out as you hollow your belly gently towards your spine, feeling the emptiness at the bottom. And continue to balance your breath as you lengthen it in and out through your nose. Now closing your lips as you softly narrow the back of your throat, thus inviting a gentle whisper that allows you to track the quality of your breathing. Using this warming Ujjayi pranayama, or victorious breath. On your next inhale, rise forward onto hands and knees, paralleling your shins, hips width apart. But as you exhale, start to contract your belly, look down between your knees and round your back. Inhale, lengthen your spine, then coil your chest up, rolling the shoulders down into cow pose. Exhale, press the ground away with your hands again, contract the belly, and dome your spine, cat pose. And then whether you continue on a few more cycles of this, Vidalasana, or just move organically the way your body needs to begin warming up. Let's keep going a few more cycles of breath. On your next exhalation, tuck your toes behind you, spread your fingers wide and flat, and lift your pelvis slowly, drawing your weight towards your rear wall. And then in downward facing dog, you might allow a few breaths where you can just explore space, pedaling your feet, opening up the backs of your legs. And softly moving your head, releasing any tension or holding along your neck. And as you press the ground actively away with your hands, lift your shoulders up, away from your neck. Broaden across your shoulders by rotating the outsides of your upper arms, your triceps, towards the ground. And then as you parallel your feet about hips width apart, find some stillness in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Steadying your eyes on the ground towards your feet for just 2 more cycles of breath. On your next exhalation, walk to the front of your mat to stand in a forward fold with your feet still apart and parallel. You might bend your knees to alleviate any rounding in your back, free up space in your neck. And then catch hold onto opposite elbows and let your spine sway freely as you relax your skull, breathing in, smoothly breathing out. Let your weight shift slightly more forward towards the balls of your feet, perhaps maintaining a bend in your knees. Then reach for your strap as you're down there, and then press into your shins or the ground as you inhale, lift your chest. Parallel your spine to the floor. Exhale, hinge forward again. Firming down through your feet, inhale, circle your arms to rise up, strap in hand. Let your palms meet overhead as you relax your shoulders down. And then exhale your palms at the center of your chest, bowing in to perhaps clarify an intention for your day or for this hour practice. So we're gonna start a little vinyasa or breath-led movement with a strap, warming up the shoulders. So take hold of the strap between your hands, wider than your shoulders distance apart like this, just in front of your thighs. And if you know that your shoulders are a bit tight today, go a little wider than that. You wanna have a taut grip, not a loose grip on the strap, while keeping your elbows straight and your shoulders relaxed down, away from your neck. Then on your next inhale, lift your arms slowly overhead. Keep your front ribs hugging in towards your back. And as you exhale, lower your arms behind you and all the way down. If they don't come all the way down, you might need to step your hands wider apart on the strap. Inhale, raise your arms overhead. Notice the shoulders stay relaxed. Exhale, release the arms forward and down. And on your own pace, take 5 or more cycles of breath. Breathing in to lift, slow and mindful. Breathing out to lower. And if you're feeling like your shoulders could use a little bit more intensity, you could walk your hands slightly closer together, but keep that firm grip of the strap. Keep the elbows straight, your shoulders relaxed. Notice the muscles on your face at ease, especially at your jaw and between your eyes. Finish the cycle of breath that you're on, and then just release your strap onto the floor by the side. Bring your feet hips width if they're not already, and inhale, raise your arms overhead, keeping your shoulders relaxed. Look up. Exhale, hinge from your hips. With a long spine, you might bend the knees. Press the ground of your head or your legs. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Lower your fingertips outside of your heels, maybe on blocks, and exhale, step your left knee to the ground, untuck the back toes. From down to your right foot, inhale, sweep your arms forward, backstroking them to the ground. As you exhale, landing in plank, lower forward, then down. All the way to the feet, point your toes. Inhale into cobra. Hug your elbows close to your sides. Pressing the ground away. Exhale, lift your hips. Draw your sitting bones back to downward dog. Pause here in stillness for one breath. Then inhale, raise your left leg behind you, leveling your hips. And with control in your belly, exhale, step your left foot lightly inside of your left hand, lower your right knee and tuck the toes. From down to your left foot, inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. And as you exhale, backstroke your hands to land at the top of your mat and step right foot forward to fold. Inhale, circle your arms to rise all the way up, gaze up. Exhale. Place your thumbs down the center line of your body. Side 2, Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep the space around you. Exhale, bow in towards the earth. Press with your fingers. Inhale, lift your chest. Lower your fingertips. Exhale, right knee steps back, untuck the toes. From down to your left foot, inhale, sweep your arms forward and up. Continue to backstroke your arms as you exhale from plank, lowering through chaturanga. Now this time, cobra or upward dog as you breathe in. Exhale, lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Hold still, listening to one cycle of breath. Steadying your eyes on one focal point. Inhale, raise your right leg, squaring your hips. Exhale, slowly and controlled, step your right foot inside of your right hand, lower the back knee, untuck the toes. Sweep your arms forward and up as you breathe in, then backstroke your hands to land at the top of your mat. Breathing out, step the left foot forward to fold. Inhale, circle your arms, lifting from your chest, rise up. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center, sun salutation A, as we continue to energize and warm up. Inhale your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow into Uttanasana. Inhale, half bow, Ardha Uttanasana. This time either float to Chaturanga or step into plank to lower through your vinyasa of Bhujangasana, Cobra, or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. And then let's meet for several breaths, stilling the body, steadying the mental focus in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. But from here, we're gonna add a variation. So on your next inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend your right knee and turn open at your hip. Staying here. Inhale, draw your left hip further back. And as you exhale, lightly step your right foot in between your hands for warrior two. Spinning your back heel down, align right heel to arch of left foot. Then inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise into warrior two. Flipping your right palm to face up, keep your right knee bent and reverse this into peaceful or exalted warrior. Leaning sideways towards your rear wall, land your left hand lightly on your left leg. On your next exhale, cartwheel your hands to frame your right foot to plank pose. Whether you lower into your choice of vinyasa or step straight into downward facing dog. Arriving in downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at the hip. As you inhale, stay here. Draw your right hip further back. As you exhale, control through the abdomen, lightly step your left foot between your hands. Spinning your right heel down, align left heel to arch of right foot, and windmill your arms to rise into warrior two. Keeping your left knee bent, flip your left palm to face up, and reverse this, leaning sideways towards your rear wall into peaceful warrior. Right hand lightly landing on right leg. On your next exhale, cartwheel your two hands to frame your left foot, stepping into plank pose. Choose your vinyasa or none. We'll meet in down facing dog for several breaths. Right away, committing to letting your body be still, free of distraction. As the focus we cultivate through the physical practice lends itself to meditation in the end. But more importantly, lends itself to greater awareness. And bend your knees, look past your hands. This time, empty your breath, holding it out, lift your pelvic floor, and walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. Then breathing in, lengthen your spine forward. Breathing out, fold in. Rooting down to your feet, inhale, rise up. Palms meet towards the sky. Exhale, join them at your heart. Let's do that same sequence, one more in a continuous flow. Inhale, your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine, step to plank or float into chaturanga as you breathe out. Keep going at your pace of breath through your vinyasa and back to downward dog. There, inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, bend your right knee and turn open at the hip. Inhale, draw your left hip further back. Exhale, lightly step your right foot between your hands. Spin your back heel down, heel to arch. Inhale, cartwheel your arms into warrior two. Exhale, reverse as you flip the right palm up into peaceful warrior. Inhale, lower your hands to frame your right foot. Exhale, continue down into your vinyasa or go straight to downward facing dog. From downward dog, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at your hip. Inhale, draw your right hip further back. Exhale, lightly land your left foot between your hands. Spin the right heel down, heel to arch. Inhale, cartwheel your arms to rise, warrior two. Flip your left palm up. Exhale, reverse it into peaceful warrior. Inhale, touch the earth with both hands and plank. Continue on to your vinyasa, maybe a cat-cow. Resting in child's pose is always an option when you need it. And we'll eventually meet in downward facing dog. Committing to letting the body be still, letting the eyes steady on a focus point, and letting the breath recalibrate. Remembering that all of these are various tools for calming the fluctuations of the mind and being able to see with more clarity. Now, as you're ready to move on, bend your knees and look forward. At the end of your exhalation, think of lifting your pelvic floor as you walk or float to the top. Then inhale, lift your chest into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms to rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line, sun salutation, be once. With your feet touching, bend your knees to touch, sink your weight towards your heels, inhale into chair pose. A continuous flow, exhale, shift forward to bow in. Inhale, in your spine halfway up. Float to chaturanga or stepped plank, or take cat-cow if you prefer that instead of a full vinyasa. When you arrive in downward dog, keep your hips squared as you inhale, raise your right leg behind you, flexing the foot. Exhale, set your right foot just inside of your right hand so your feet are hips width apart, dropping your back heel. Keep facing forward as you inhale, rise into warrior one, arms up. Then exhale, lower from plank into your choice of vinyasa or straight to downward dog. Hear the consistent sound of your breath. Then inhale, raise your left leg, hips leveled. Exhale, set your left foot lightly inside of your left hand, lower the right heel. Hips facing forward, inhale, rise into Virabhadrasana 1. Then exhale, lower, you choose, flow or no flow. We'll eventually meet in facing dog. Ironing out any wrinkles in the breath as you recultivate a feeling of inner stillness. And when you feel your breath has rebalanced into a slow rhythm, bend your knees, look ahead, and at the end of your exhalation, lightly land your feet to touch at the top. Then inhale, lift your chest, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold in. Bend your knees to touch. Inhale, sit back towards your heels in chair pose. From here, join your hands at your heart, and as you press down with your left foot to stand, lift your right foot off the floor, flexing it. Turn out your right leg from the hip. For tree pose, hug the inside of your left ankle, calf, or thigh, and feel a sense of hugging the midline of your body from your left and right sides. Now in the play of counter forces, feel the ground supporting you, and as you press into the earth, feel the rise up to your crown. And then notice your in and out breath, establishing that feeling of balance in which you might play with raising your arms, closing your eyes, using the posture as a context to practice awareness. What happens when we dance a little bit, wiggle a little bit, or even fall a little bit out of a pose? Can we pay attention to in the mind? And then as you're ready, join your hands at your heart and set your right foot next to the left. Deep breath in, smooth breath out. Let's start in chair pose. So let your knees touch, bend them, lean back towards your heels, raise your arms, feel stability as you root into the ground. Now rejoin your hands at your heart as you relax your shoulders. As you press your right foot more firmly into the earth, start to rise up, lifting your left foot, standing on your right leg. Turn out your left leg from the hip and hug the inside of your right leg, below or above your knee. Firmly, so that you feel the left and right sides of your body hugging in towards your midline. Feel the ground underneath and use your rooting force to rise taller with a sense of freedom and confidence. And then any other variation with your arms, your eyes. Aware of any breath changes. Vrikshasana, tree pose. And as you're ready, join your hands at your heart and set your left foot down. Deep in breath and slowly whisper out to your mouth. All right, so let's grab that strap again. You'll want to possibly have your blocks near thigh too. Have your feet hips width apart at the top of your mat and set your blocks to frame your heels. And if you only have one block, place it on the left side. And then with strap in hand, step your left foot back 2/3 as wide of a stance as you were in Warrior One. Just slightly shorter so that you can keep your legs straight, your feet entirely grounded, and your two hips facing forward. Now hold the strap in your left hand so that you're dangling the tail behind your back. With the help of your right hand, rotate your left outer upper arm slightly to face forward to broaden across the top of your shoulder. Then bend your left elbow behind the center of your head to land your left palm between your shoulder blades. Reaching your right hand underneath behind you, grab the other end of the strap or hold your shirt with your two hands and try to walk your hands closer together. Now, if your hands can meet and clasp, you can release the strap. And spreading your toes, engage the front muscles of your thighs, engage your belly, and inhale, broaden and lift your chest while sliding your shoulder blades down. Keep the feeling of a flat back and exhale, begin to hinge towards your inner right shin just a little bit. Pause there, keep firming down through your feet and realigning your hips squared as you elongate your spine. Exhaling, consider folding a little more each breath. Be mindful to maintain that naturally open space between your chin and your chest, allowing clarity in the passageway for your breath. Let's take 2 more breaths here in this version of Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Now entering revolved triangle, keep your legs firmly grounded and lift your spine parallel to the floor. Lower your left hand first on the left side of your right foot, maybe using a block. Or for a deeper twist or more challenge in balancing, lower your left hand on the right side of your right foot. Using your right thumb to hook the crease of your right outer hip slightly back so that if you wanted, you could balance a block across your lower back. Elongate the top of your head forward, tracing the midline of your mat. Soften the shoulders back. Take a deep breath here. Now at your waistline, exhale, begin to rotate your chest to face your right wall, little by little each breath. If your balance feels pretty stable, consider raising your right arm up so that you begin to stack your 2 wrists and shoulders in one line, broadening your chest. Let's take 3 more breaths here in Parita Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. Releasing any tension you might feel along your spine and other areas you probably feel are responding right now. Now on your exhale, lower your 2 hands to frame your right foot. Then step your left foot forward, hips distance from your right, adjusting your 2 blocks for the second side. Grab your strap Then bring your hands to your hips. Perhaps bend the knees slightly so that you can lift through the chest with a feeling of a flat back, rising to stand. All right, side two, step your right foot back 2/3 as far as you did in Warrior One, keeping your legs straight and both your heels grounded, hips forward. Hold the strap from your right hand so that you're dangling the tail behind your back. With the help of your left hand, rotate your right tricep slightly to face forward to broaden across the top of your shoulder, and bring your right bent elbow behind the center of your head to land your right palm between your shoulder blades. Lower your left hand behind you to catch the other end of the strap, or hold your shirt with two hands and walk your hands as close together as you can. And if you can clasp your fingers, you can drop the strap. Re-ground to your feet as you engage your quadriceps and your belly. Breathe in, broaden and lift your chest. Breathe out, begin to hinge forward from your hips. Pause as you breathe in. Reaffirm your foundation of your legs as you lengthen the spine some more. Exhale, consider folding a little deeper, as long as you can maintain integrity throughout your spine, in which you're not rounding the back or closing off your throat by dropping your chin to your chest. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Pyramid pose. Now feel the firm foundation of your feet, rooting down as you inhale to lift your spine parallel to the floor. Lower your right hand first on the right side of your left foot, maybe on a block. Or if you want more challenge or depth in the twist, lower it on the left side of your left foot. Use the left thumb to hook the outer crease of your left hip, gently pressing it back so that if you wanted, you could balance your 2 hips with a block on top. Then inhale, lengthen the top of your head forward down the center line of your mat. Shoulders back. Exhale at your waistline, begin to turn your chest to your left. Little by little, and maybe explore raising your left arm. You start to feel your wrists and shoulders stack in one line as your 2 hips remain balanced. Remembering as you balance your hips in these spinal twists, you're helping to secure safety in your lower back, allowing the twist to occur mostly along your waistline. Let's feel into 2 more deep breaths here in revolved triangle pose. Then lower your 2 hands to frame your left foot at the top of your mat. And step forward to fold. Now as you bend your knees slightly, lift your toes and let's lift the palms face up underneath the soles of your feet, stepping on your hands in a wrist stretch, Padahastasana. You can bend your knees as much as necessary, or not at all if it's not necessary, to elongate your spine. As you inhale, imagine pressing your heart through the gates of your arms. Keep shifting forward. As you exhale, hinge further from your hips, completely dropping your skull. And if your elbows can bend apart, use that to lift your shoulders up, freeing more space in your neck. Let's try this one more time. Inhale, lift your chest forward, lengthening the sides of your neck and waist. Exhale, bow further, lifting your shoulders, dropping your head. Let's stay in this forward fold for just another 3 breaths. If you're feeling an accumulation of gripping in the jaw, you might like to flutter your lips and breathe out through your mouth a few times. Slip your palms out underneath and carefully step back into your version of plank pose. Shoulders right above your wrists, gazing on the ground ahead of your hands, lower belly engaged, sides of your waist lifting like you're creating a strong line of energy from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And if your legs are straight, to your inner heels. Otherwise, knees are on the floor, adding support. Steady your breath. Now imagine you're balancing that block across your lower back so as to not seesaw or waver, differencing the height of your two hips, while you slowly lower your elbows in place of your wrists, coming into forearm plank. Nice and controlled, mindful breaths. As you arrive in forearm plank, keep gazing forward, broaden your chest forward, your shoulder blades back. Keep lifting the sides of your waist, and if your legs are straight, actively firm your heels back so they stack right above the balls of your feet. 3 more breaths. Notice that you're not shrugging your shoulders nor collapsing your skull. The energy is pulling forward and reaching back. As you exhale, slowly lower your knees, then your pelvis, into Sphinx pose. So keep broadening your chest as you look slightly more ahead on the ground, softening the tops of your shoulders downward, away from your neck. So from here, you may want to use your blocks as we enter the shoulder stretch. We usually do it on hands and knees, but we're going to do it lying on our belly. You're going to walk the elbows forward so that they remain shoulders distance apart, not wider. Then you press your fingertips into each other. Begin to trace your thumbs down the back of your skull towards the back of your neck, allowing your head to drop. And as we do in downward dog, you're doing the small action of rotating your outer upper arms towards the floor so that you're still broadening the shoulders apart. Now, if you're not feeling much with your elbows on the floor, that's where you might elevate them on blocks. Perhaps starting at the lowest height and then increasing if you need to, like this. You want to slide the blocks forward so you're towards the front edge of the blocks, especially if they're in the way of your head. Oh yeah, I feel that much more. So let's stay for another 5 breaths in whatever version of this shoulder opening posture. Really nice to combat rounding in the shoulders. With your inhalations, visualize broadening your collarbones from sternum to shoulder heads like a widening smile. Sliding your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Armpits hollowing as they lift gently away from the floor. And from here, finish your 5 breaths. Slowly roll back into Sphinx pose with your elbows on the ground. Put the blocks aside, place your forearms parallel in front of you. But this time, let's interlace the fingers, creating a triangular base. So when you interlace the fingers, you have a hollow center between the palms. And then root down firmly as you plug your elbows into the earth, exactly your shoulders distance. Feel the outer wrists grounded. So in that rooting down, you feel the counter force of lifting up. Rather than collapsing your weight into the floor, you're pressing the floor away to find stability to rise, especially across your chest. Draw your shoulder heads back, press the shoulder blades down your back. Look forward of your knuckles of your hands. Now begin to tuck your toes on the floor as you firm your heels back, raising your knees off the ground, engaging your quadriceps. Imagine your tailbone seeking to reach your inner heels. As you exhale, lift your belly from the floor until you create a horizontal line. Crown of the head, lengthening forward, chest broadening forward. Gaze just in front of the knuckles of your hands, shoulder blades broadening back. Lower belly lifting, heels firming back, tailbone reaching towards your inner heels. 3 more breaths, forearm plank. Now, before we physically transition, I invite you to visualize walking your toes forward, keeping your forearms pressing the floor away as you raise your pelvis into dolphin pose. Then as you Be steady. Begin to walk your toes forward. As close to your elbows as you can. Keep your shoulders from rounding in front of your elbows. In fact, try to keep your shoulders slightly behind your elbows. So you're actively pressing your chest back towards your shins. Head can just release. You're bearing no weight on your skull. Perhaps you bring the feet to touch. Maybe explore slowly raising one leg as you flex the foot, keeping your two hips leveled rather than turning out the leg that you're lifting. And then maybe you switch legs, but whenever you feel you're ready, come down to your knees and we'll rest in child's pose for a few breaths. When you do arrive in Balasana and child's pose, you might want to give your shoulders a rest and just wrap your arms down by your legs. Maybe gently stretch your neck, resting one ear towards the ground. Feel into the quality of your breath again as you re-lengthen it equally in and out through your nose. Turn your head to the opposite side if you're stretching your neck. And then slowly walk your hands forward. Let's begin to lift the pelvis back to downward facing dog. Lifting your hips high, rotating your triceps towards the ground, and releasing your head. Deep breaths. Now, as you keep your two hips leveled, imagine lifting your leg from your inner thigh. Flex your right foot and inhale, slowly raise it behind you. Now, as you exhale, contract your belly and slowly round forward. Imagine you're kissing your right knee. In fact, see if you can. Stack your shoulders just above your wrists. Then lightly step your right foot just inside of your right hand. Stay on the ball of your left foot. Imagine scissoring your legs without visibly moving them. And with that sense of stability, slowly rise up to crescent lunge. Now you might bend your left knee for the first few breaths to allow your tailbone to direct downward. As you engage your belly to slightly lift your frontal hip bones. A little bit of scissoring your right hip back, left hip forward to find an even upright position for the bowl shape of your pelvis. And in that way, you're containing your center just below your belly button to allow a grounding and a lift up as you raise your arms. And then if your left hip flexor feels open to it, you might straighten your left leg. Steady your eyes. Listen to 3 more breaths. Now, as you bend your elbows wide apart like the shape of a cactus, breathe in and slide your shoulder blades further down your back. Broaden your chest. As you exhale, cross your right elbow over your left, entering eagle arms. Whether you hook your thumbs or go further by wrapping your forearms and palms. Align your elbows to the height of your shoulders and gently press your forearms forward, broadening your upper back. As you steady your breath, let's begin to enter eagle pose. Shifting your weight onto your right foot, turn out your left leg, flex the foot, and wrap your left leg over your right. Bend your right knee like you're sitting in chair. And if you're able to, tuck your left toes behind your right calf and scissor your left hip slightly back. Perhaps sitting a little lower. Breathe in, breathe out, steadying your gaze. In Native American culture of just a brief Google research on totem poles, and the animal, the spirit animal of the eagle is associated with vision and ability to go for what it is that you dream of from your heart space. To see the bigger picture, of life's events. And stay grounded in your purpose. We're going to reverse back to crescent lunge where you came from. So start to unwind your left leg, flexing the foot, extend it behind you, maybe pausing a breath or few in warrior three. Whether you join your hands at your heart or you keep your arms in eagle. And then we'll land the left foot back and spin the left heel down into warrior one. And then from here, circle your hands behind you and interlace your fingers or grab your strap to hold between your hands. Feel your two soles of your feet entirely grounded as your two hips face forward, straightening your left leg, bending your front knee over the heel. As you breathe in, coil your chest up. Stay here or exhale, start to bow forward into humble warrior. Leaning on your front thigh or lowering your head on the inside of your right ankle. Keep scissoring your right hip back as you stretch your arms up and forward away from your lower back. Peaceful breaths. A lot of upside down perspectives today as we think about the idea of unlearning norms we might have attached to. Or not necessarily unlearning, but just reevaluating. Do they continue to serve the purpose of your highest self and solidarity with humanity? Now look at the ground in whatever variation of this pose you're in and lower your two hands to step back to downward facing dog. If you're craving to flow, feel free to take it on your own pace. Feel your breath rise to the top and empty to the bottom. Keeping your two hips leveled, inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Contract your belly as you exhale. See if you can bend your left knee and kiss it, or at least try so that you're rounding forward before lightly landing your left foot just inside of your left hand. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Energetically drag your feet towards each other, but not visible movement, so that you feel that stability to rise up slowly into crescent lunge. Now you might bend your right knee for the first few breaths to help the bowl shape of your pelvis orient upright as your two hips evenly face forward. An act of containing your center, that energy source. From here, root down, perhaps straightening the right leg and rise up. Feel the balance in your breath. Steady your gaze. On your next inhale, cactus, bend your elbows apart and slide your shoulder blades down, broadening your chest. As you exhale, cross your left elbow over your right, hooking your thumbs or wrapping your forearms and palms. Elbows at the height of your shoulders, gently press your forearms forward, broadening your upper back. Now visualize, before entering Garudasana, that you're about to shift all your weight onto your left foot, sitting in a one-legged chair, as you wrap your right leg over the left. In the process, flex your right foot to help control your movement. Sit as low as you can, keep your spine upright. If you're tucking your right toes behind your left calf, gently scissor your right hip back to realign your hips to face forward. Feel into the steadiness of your breath. What do you envision for the rest of your day? What qualities are you cultivating to your physical practice to lend into that vision for the day? Visualize unwinding through warrior three to step back to crescent lunge. And when you're ready, slowly as you breathe, unravel your right leg straight back as you flex the foot, landing your feet hips width apart, and then lowering your right heel so that your legs are in warrior one, hips still facing forward. Backstroke your two hands to clasp with the opposite thumb and index finger on top. Then inhale, roll your shoulders back, open your chest. Stay here or exhale, begin to bow into humble warrior. Leaning on top of your left thigh or on the inside of your ankle. As you reach your arms forward, lifting your shoulders away from your neck. Bowing in with reverence to your inner guidance. That which may sometimes provoke you to challenge learned beliefs. And the effort of seeing more clearly. As you feel ready, one last vinyasa if you're called to it. Otherwise, we'll land in child's pose for several breaths. Now, consider this as you remain in child's pose, a heated inversion, which includes downward facing dog, dolphin pose, and the variations of lifting a leg, headstand, shirshasana or tripod, or standing forward fold, L-shaped pose if you have a wall, handstand with or without a wall, forearm balance. So any of those that resonates with you, try practicing it for 5 to 10 breaths on your own. Then let's meet in child's pose. Those of you going into Shirshasanas, I sort of broke it down yesterday. You can start with the interlaced fingers and the triangular base of your forearms. Elbows exactly shoulders width. Top of the head on the ground, back of the head gently supported by the hollow webbing on the inner palms. Making sure you maintain the natural space and curvature of your neck. You tuck your toes as though you're entering dolphin pose. Whether you lift one leg up, not kicking because you don't want to let the suspension be in your neck. You want a slow and controlled lift of slowly turning your pelvic bowl upside down, creating a vertical line from your ankles to your hips, to your shoulders, to your elbows. Feel those counter forces, whether you're upside down or downside up, rooting into the earth to rise towards the sky. When you decide you're ready to land in child's pose, carefully make your way down. Remember, transitions between postures or in and out of them are so important to keep your body safe and your mind still focused. Breathing in, breathing out, awareness. And if you've rested for a few breaths in child's pose, press your hands alongside your knees on the floor And with an inhale, slowly roll your spine upright. Slide your legs in front of you so that we can set the pelvis at the center of your mat. And come to lie down on your back for one round of either bridge pose, arms down by your sides, or Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow, hands alongside your ears, fingertips pointing towards your shoulders and outer edges of your mat. You have a block, it's helpful to hug the skinniest width between your thighs to prevent splaying your thighs and feet apart. You want to keep your legs and feet parallel. Feet are just about where you could touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. And then when you're ready, lift your pelvis up in either preparation. Slide your upper arms under your back ribs, maybe clasp your fingers if you're in bridge. If you're in upward bow, arms stay parallel, bring the top of your head to the earth. Draw the shoulder blades further down your back. Maybe press the ground away so the head lifts. You want to feel your hamstrings and your glutes engage slightly. It's like the feeling of dragging your heels back towards your glutes, but don't visibly move them. As you actively lengthen your tailbone forward towards the space between your knees. So you're opening up your heart energy center, middle of your chest. Imagine breathing more deeply there. After 5 to 10 breaths, take your time to reverse the stages, slowly lowering your spine, your pelvis. And once you've lowered your pelvis, taking your time at your own pace, I invite you to enter a gentle moving twist, whether you keep your feet on the ground, open the arms, and just windshield wiper your shins to drop together, left and right, slowly as you breathe. Now I invite you to choose your last posture, whether you sit up, straighten your legs forward for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold, or you lift your legs up in an L-shaped position like this, or shoulder stand or plow, if you normally practice that and can do it safely. Remember, if you are coming into shoulder stand or plow, really bring your arms close to your side ribs so that you can plug your elbows into the earth as leverage to press down and lift the pelvis up. Pull your chin back slightly away from your chest. Avoid turning your head side to side once you've lifted your pelvis off the floor. Allow a few breaths to gradually lower your body towards Shavasana. Maybe hugging your knees into your chest. Yes, your arms and legs display out onto the earth. Close your eyes. Release control of your breathing. And soften into stillness. Observing your mind, body, and breath. for the next couple of minutes. Should you choose to stay in Shavasana, feel free to just remain still. But if you'd like to sit up for 2 minutes of meditation, start to lift your body up. Sit in a way that allows your mind to stay alert, your body and breath to remain relaxed. As we practiced yesterday, this inner chanting meditation is that to awaken our remembrance of who we really are beyond this body and mind, pure awareness. And so it's a repetitive chant within silence to your breath cadence. As you naturally breathe in, you could visualize your breath rising from your tailbone up your spine to your crown. As you say the words inside you, I am. And as you breathe out, visualize the breath from your crown descending through your spine to your tailbone. As you say the words, pure awareness. Now, if there's a different phrase that you prefer, make it meaningful to you that you can repeat and reaffirm. Inhale, I am, up the spine. Exhale, pure awareness, down the spine. Got less than 2 minutes here. Allowing deeper breaths, bring your awareness back to your physical space. If you'd like to close practice with us and they're still lying down, gently begin to lift your body up to sit. Joining your palms to meet at your heart as you bow in. The practice of remembering that we are the witness of life's events, of our physical body, of our thoughts, can help us to let go of the suffering that comes from avidya. Let's close the practice, joining in one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.